A demented and addled Donald Trump just ran outside the White House. He flagged down the press and he said, "Let's talk about the ballroom. Let's talk about the ballroom. We're going to put drones all over Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is going to be patrolled by my drones, and I'm going to build a drone port on the ballroom." I mean, he literally looks like a lunatic. This just happened moments ago. Let's play it.
And now we're going to walk over and we're going to see, this goes equidistant on the other side. And right over there, if you notice, is where the ballroom and military complex will be. And the military complex is going to have a drone-proof roof. And you're going to have, on top of the roof, you're going to have drones, many drones, which will protect Washington, D.C. and will protect the White House. Very important. So let's take a look at the helipad and we'll walk together if you'd like.
And then he said, "My ballroom." He goes, "Follow me, follow me. My ballroom. It's going to be so great. We're going to have cocktails and it's drone proof and we're going to launch drones throughout Washington, D.C. You want to have cocktails in my golden ballroom?" Folks, this is so utterly deranged. Here, play this clip.
The beautiful new roadway. They get out of the car and they walk down this path onto that, and they can have cocktails and everything outside of the White House. And then they go into the ballroom. Even the military, they can use it like that. And we have the ballroom is so much a military component with the drones and the bomb shelters and everything else that we have in there. So it's really, that started off as a ballroom. And before we started work, the military came to see me and they say, "Sir, we have an opportunity to do something incredible here."
And then he continued to talk about how the ballroom is going to be amazing and how the stone has a lifespan that's longer than 1,000,000 years. I don't know what the hell is even happening here. Let's play this clip.
It's a 1,000,000-year life. It's a very strong stone. It will never break. It will never leak. It will never do anything. This is the highest quality stone you can get. And especially for something like this, it's rated 1,000,000-year plus. That means it has a 1,000,000-year life. Can you imagine that? It's 35,000 pounds per square inch. If you look at hard concrete is 5,000 pounds. This is 35,000. So nature is stronger than what the human can produce. It's really pretty amazing.
Then he says that one of his big donors is Scott's Miracle-Gro. They're a great company, he said. They're a big donor, and they've now given him this grass for the White House. And so he wants to give a shout out to his donor, Scott's Miracle-Gro, for the great grass that's now being delivered to the White House. And he plugs the company. Here, play this clip.
But this grass is the highest quality. It was given free of charge by Scott's Miracle-Gro, Scott's. And Scott's is a great company. They actually contributed to my campaign. I must be honest. You'll figure that one out. And they said to me, "Sir, we'd like to replace the grass at the White House with the highest quality grass and do a real job." So Scott's, I want to thank Scott's Miracle-Gro. It's I think the biggest grass company in the world, somebody said. But it's very big and very good. And the owners are fantastic people. And I want to thank them. So this...
And by the way, while Donald Trump is engaged in this ridiculous, demented lunacy that we're observing before our very eyes right there, the American people are suffering. The price of diesel is at an all-time high, now over $5.50 a gallon for diesel nationwide. The price of regular gas over $4 a gallon. The price of crude continues to surge. We are in deeply troubling economic times and deeply troubling times. And this is what he's doing. He then says that the grass is going to be very happy. This is a line that he keeps on repeating now. "Did you know grass is alive?" he says, "and I'm going to make them very well fed." Hey, Donald, how about you feed the American people and not rip away critical programs and rip away their ability to live the American dream or rip away their health care? How about you stop taking food away from the mouths of the American people, making things far less affordable, making the cost of living prohibitive? Here's what he does. Here, play this clip.
But you come back in 2 or 3 weeks, this has all been redone. It's all been topsoiled. In other words, we put topsoil, brand new earth on top. Lot of good ingredients in that earth for grass. If you're grass, you're very happy. And
then while he's involved in all of this deranged activity, he's asked by a reporter, so what's going to happen with Iran? Are you going to reopen negotiations? And he says, why would I reopen negotiations? Things are so good right now. Things are amazing. So I don't see why I need to. What are you talking about? You and Netanyahu went into this catastrophic war. Iran controls the Strait of Hormuz. We have a dismal economic situation, would be putting it lightly, in the United States right now. The world has never been more uncertain in terms of wars breaking out everywhere. You think this is a good situation that we're in right now? Let's play this clip.
About what?
Reopen negotiations.
Maybe at some point, but right now, I think the situation is so good, but maybe at some point. Look, it's very simple. They have to get rid of no nuclear weapons. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. You know why? Because they'd use it, and we're not going to let them use it. So Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
And then he says, look, we can, he does this line again, which is just so utterly absurd. And I mean, who's the base that listens to this? I mean, it's crazy that there's still even I think his approval's 33%, that there's 30%, 33%, 30% of Americans who go, okay, we control the Strait of Hormuz. We don't control the Strait of Hormuz. Iran continues to strike tanker after tanker over there. In the Red Sea, you have the Houthis striking tankers of Saudi origin in the Bab el-Mandab Strait. But here Donald Trump is saying, we have total possession and control. Here, play this clip.
The Strait, last night we had a lot of boats come through. We have possession, complete control of the Strait. I mean, outside of nuisance value, and there is nuisance value when they shoot a drone every once in a while, and not everybody's going to go through, but they come through.
And then Trump says, look, people are so amazed by just how much better it is in the Strait of Hormuz right now. He says it's not going to be perfect, but there's just so much oil coming out. Okay, well then why is the Strategic Petroleum Reserve depleted? Why have we hit tank bottom? Why don't we see the ships? And I'm not just talking about the ones that have their transponders on. I'm talking about the ones that also go dark. These are big ships, these VLCCs. We can see what's going in. We can see what's going out. And just the degree to which this lunatic just lies about every damn word. And what the hell is he even doing in the White House right now? What's even going on? Here, play this clip right here.
Oil coming out, a lot of oil. It's not going to be perfect, but it's a lot of oil coming out. A lot. In fact, people are amazed. One of the reasons that oil hasn't gone to like the proverbial $300 a barrel, it's at 83, 84, 85. And it'll be a lot lower when this is over.
Then he lies and says he will be meeting with Kim Jong-un later this year when Kim Yo-jong, Kim Jong-un's sister, who's basically the next top-level person in North Korea, says she's unaware of any recent communications between Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump. And then she also says the U.S. decision to scale back military exercises with South Korea doesn't change anything at all about North Korea continuing to increase its nuclear weapons and continue its testing and continue its view that war is inevitable. But Donald Trump has called the U.S. military exercises with South Korea the hostile and destabilizing force, throwing our allies under the bus. Here, play this.
He's going to be fine. If we have a dumb president, then he's probably not going to be so fine.
Are you expecting to meet with him later this year?
Yeah, I will be.
Mr. President, today's about...
My old wallet was this giant crusty leather brick that was falling apart. My back even started to hurt because I was sitting so uneven. Ridge has a unique, slim, modern design that holds up to 12 cards plus cash. It's made with premium materials like aluminum, titanium, and carbon fiber, and has over 50 plus colors and styles to choose from. All Ridge products have a lifetime warranty. This is literally the last wallet you'll ever have to buy. It gives me peace of mind knowing that all Ridge wallets have RFID blocking technology. It keeps me safe from digital pickpocketers and just puts my mind at ease. And Ridge has over 100,000 5-star reviews. Ridge isn't just about wallets. They create premium everyday carry essentials like power banks, key cases, suitcases, and rings, all built with the same sleek, durable design. No matter what you pick, Ridge has free shipping, a 99-day risk-free trial, and a lifetime warranty on all their products. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off at Ridge by using code Meidas at checkout. Just head to ridge.com and use code Meidas, and you're all set. After your purchase, they'll ask how you found out about them. Please support our show. Let them know that MeidasTouch sent you.
Then Donald Trump's like, and you know what's so great about the Strait of Hormuz situation right now? What's great about it, Donald? What's great about the Strait of Hormuz? He goes, there are so many people finding alternatives in Texas, Alaska, and Louisiana. Everybody's coming to the United States now. Well, you're an idiot. And you don't understand the way global oil markets work. And I'll just break it down very simple. If what you're saying was true, and everybody's buying from Texas, Alaska, and Louisiana, and the supply is so high, then why wouldn't we just do the most basic economic lesson in Econ 101, supply and demand, what they teach in high school economics? So if there was all of this supply out there, why wouldn't the prices be falling? If there was an abundance, wouldn't we be seeing much lower prices? So why do the prices continue to go up? Why do the diesel cracks, the diesel spreads, the delta between the paper crude and what's actually being sold at the diesel refineries, why is that $102 a barrel, Donald? Oh, wait, because you're a liar. You probably don't even know what crack spreads are. You probably don't even know what treasury yields are. You probably don't even know what the strategic petroleum reserve is. But you'd rather just go out there and, I don't know, have Natalie Harp chase you around and then have all your MAGA sycophants go, you can't talk about Natalie. Anyway, here's what he says about Texas, Alaska, and Louisiana. Let's play this clip.
In fact, people are amazed. One of the reasons that oil hasn't gone to like the proverbial $300 a barrel, it's at 83, 84, 85. And it'll be a lot lower when this is over because we have plenty of oil. But one of the reasons it never went to the 3 and 350 numbers because we have a lot coming out. And people are finding alternatives too. And you know one of the alternatives? Texas. You know another one? Alaska, Louisiana. They're coming to the United States to get oil. And people say, oh, you shouldn't say that because it makes it sound, well, it is what it is. I mean, they're coming to Texas, Louisiana, and Alaska to get oil.
And then Donald Trump says, when I was in China, they had a great room, a great ballroom. But what we're going to build will be even better than that. Play this clip.
Anywhere in the world, there won't be anything like it. You know, when I was in China, they have the great room. They have a room that's phenomenal. And I'm not going to get into arguments with anybody, but this beats everything. There's nothing like this anywhere in the world.
Meanwhile, while Donald Trump is gallivanting around with Natalie, China's out there completing its first phase of construction on the Antelope Reef in the disputed South China Sea, creating a nearly 6-kilometer-long artificial island with a deep water harbor and what could become a runway. Beijing says the site will support civilian activities. Analysts believe it could significantly strengthen China's military presence and surveillance capabilities in the region, including in a potential Taiwan conflict. And the U.S. has moved its last supercarrier, the USS George Washington, out of the Pacific and ceded all of the Pacific essentially to China. And now you have South Korea's leadership meeting with China as well, as the U.S. security umbrella fell there as well. As I mentioned, Donald Trump would rather just hide in catering containers with Natalie. The latest reporting from the New York Times on Natalie Harp says the following. Several videos shared with the Times shows Natalie Harp sprinting across great distances to keep up with Mr. Trump's golf cart as it putters across his course in Scotland. I also am so sorry if I was an embarrassment walking the course in Scotland, Natalie Harp wrote in a letter to the president that was viewed by the New York Times. The letter goes on to say, I want things to always be right between us. I also know I've been distracted all week, forgetting to eat throughout the day and even forgetting to sleep and only catching a couple of hours at a time. Apparently, when there were no seats for her available in some of the motorcades, she would be in the trunk. Folks, it is very, very bizarre. And then Donald Trump, as he's wrapping up whatever the hell is going on in the White House this morning, is asked by a reporter, so what if the Supreme Court rules against your ballroom project? The D.C. Circuit Court of Appeal has ruled against him. And all they've said is, look, you want your ballroom, you got to go to Congress. This has to be funded by Congress. There's something called the property clause in the Constitution. Congress has the power of the purse. Ask them, have them pass a law. That's the way our system works. You can't just destroy the White House. And then Donald Trump's argument is, well, nobody has standing to sue me. And he says, the person who sued me, the standing that she claims is she was walking a dog and doesn't like the White House, that's not standing. He's as he makes up the craziest things. That's not the argument for standing. The argument is that there's a National Preservation Trust in Washington, D.C. that protects and guards against the destruction of American history, and that they have been recognized to have standing over and over again in these types of cases in the past. He just makes up the most. She says that she's got a dog. I mean, again, I don't know what you're talking about. Every word out of this guy's mouth is a lie. And that shouldn't be it's not like as a Democrat, you call it out, as an independent or a Republican, the guy just lied. Everything is an absolute lie that he says. And it's really crazy to see. Here, let's just play this clip of what he says about the Supreme Court.
Any problem with the grass? Yeah, please.
President, you're talking about all the construction out here and certainly
Right.
the ballroom project. So what is your plan if the Supreme Court rules against that?
Well, we hope that doesn't happen. I can't imagine it happening. The lawsuit the person had no standing. It was a person that said she walked along and she didn't like the view, even though nothing was built.
I also want to just very briefly, maybe I'll do a longer video on this, alert you to a scheme that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is pulling this morning in order to lower the Treasury yields by engaging in this Ponzi scheme where he issues short-term debt to buy back previously issued long-term debt. You know, those 30-year Treasury yields are very high. And so here's how it's being described by the Treasury Department. It's essentially what's called qualitative easing, QE. It's basically printing more money, but they're not calling it quantitative easing. They're calling it selling short-term bonds to pay for the long-term, to bring down the to bring down the supply of the long terms and take them out of the market, which should then decrease the value of the long-term yields and ultimately her heart will increase our debt long-term and actually cause a lot more problems. The U.S. Department of Treasury is increasing by at least double the size of liquidity support buyback operations for the longer dated nominal security coupon securities. The current maximum size of $2 billion per operation will be at least $4 billion per operation. And they're calling it YCC, yield curve control. Yield curve control is far from free lunch, as he says. While it can help bring down longer end yields in the immediate short term, thus helping mortgage and other borrowing costs, it risks collateral damage and unintended consequences. Moreover, the effects of this financial engineering are short-dated unless followed by fundamental policy adjustments. This is economists speak for, this is a Ponzi scheme that's taking place to manipulate the market very short term before the elections, but then to screw over the country long term. And then when a future president or someone tries to fix the mess that was created, especially as this will create more debt, right? Because they're issuing more debt. What's going to happen? They're going to blame the next person. Oh, you screwed it all up. You screwed it up. No, we're watching what's happening right now. And that's why who's ever elected in the future needs to be very clear about who the arsonist is and not allow these irresponsible, reckless MAGA arsonists to blame the person who's trying to fix it as the arsonist. That's why I try to break this down in ways we all understand. All right, hit subscribe. Get your copy of WTF America. Pre-order it now. We appreciate you. That's the book I wrote with my brothers. Pre-order it now. Help us get to 7 million subscribers. Thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate you.
Before you go, our book, WTF America, is available for pre-order now. It's the story of how we got here and how we fight our way back. To pre-order, scan the QR code or click the link in the description. Let's do this.